some updates. So you were at Ultimate Goal.
Yep.
Huge facility to large fields.
Mm-hmm.
Not really ideal location,
Yep.
at least for the whole city or central New York.
Yep.
Talk about you were there, you know, you had something good, but
Yeah.
it just wasn't the right space.
Yeah, and that's basically it. It's like it was a great setup. It's a big space that costs a lot of money, and the bottom line is like I needed more turf time, and we couldn't like really afford for me to monopolize all the time just because soccer, you know, there's a lot of soccer groups that we have to rent to soccer groups,
Yeah.
and we got to keep our soccer programs up. So I started to go to our current spot. I just started to lease it from Len Montreal, and it was great. And like what I didn't realize when we took that spot over is how important like the central location is. Like I always knew it was a thing, but no one was doing, you know, that much training at that time in this area. And I was like, all right, well, maybe people will make the trip out to Marcellus. And they were. But as soon as we got into, you know, downtown or the Inner Harbor where we are now, it's so central. Like it's like literally 15 minutes from almost every school district. So it just makes it easy for people to get consistent reps. And that's what we're trying to do. Like I'm trying to build a spot where kids can go and players can go and work on their game consistently because, you know, there's no secrets to that. They got to do it a lot. And if we're not in a spot that people can get to a lot, it's a pain in the butt.
Yeah. You would get the diehards
Right.
who are willing and the parents who are willing to bring them.
Yeah.
But even living in Camillus, you know, you did that indoor league that we played in.
Yep.
That's kind of a pain to get out there.
I know.
And we're the closest
I know.
ones
I know.
almost. I mean, other than Marcellus, I guess, or Skaneateles. But
Yeah.
so you're talking Liverpool, CNS, anyone on the east side, like that's a trip.
It's a hike. It's definitely a hike. You like anyone from like Jamesville, DeWitt area, it's probably what, 45 to an hour almost.
Yeah.
We have people coming from Chittenango. I guess the people that are coming from Binghamton, it doesn't matter that much, but
Yeah, they're already,
you know, yeah.
they're already in for a trip.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
now Inner Harbor area, you're on Pulaski Street there.
Yep.
How big is it?
It's like the field itself is about 4,000 square feet.
Okay. Like, do you know like yardage?
Yeah. So it's like close to 20 yards by 38 yards.
Yeah.
And it's perfect for training. Like it's, you know, we work with players from, you know, like Kenzie and Kevin,
Yeah.
kindergarten, first grade, all the way up through our professional athletes, which as they get older in there, we really focus mostly on their skill work just because they all got seasons coming up. We want to make sure everyone's staying healthy, and it's not a ton of space, but it's like perfect for that.
Yeah.
You know that.
And when they get to that age, well, I guess professional is a little different, but like college,
Mhm.
they're playing enough.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So the skill building is really the important part, right? They have enough practice with teammates, with good competition. It's
Yeah.
really just honing in on
Yep.
the fundamentals and just repping it.
100%.
Rep that.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the goal. Like our goal is like to get their skills and their, you know, lacrosse IQ and their knowledge of the game to a point where when they end up on their varsity teams, on their college teams, like whatever their coaches are teaching them, like they just get it. They understand it. They know how to fit it into that system. You know, my goal is just to get them to that point where no matter where they go, they're like very prepared.
Yeah. But more on the business side, moving to where you are now,
Mm-hmm.
has it limited you at all because it is a smaller space? Or have you been able to do pretty much everything you've been wanting to do?
Yeah. I think I mean obviously size, like the more size you have, like the more players you can fit in there, the more things you can do in a session, but at the same time it also takes longer to clean up balls, and like I know that's like a little detail, but we're able to get a lot more done in a shorter time frame.
Yeah, it's all
So-
netted in. And
Yeah, everything's enclosed, it's netted in, ball strap right there. It's easy cleanup, easy setup,
no slimers.
no slimers. We never have any slimers.
Yeah, the AstroTurf. So.
They actually get smaller.
Yeah.
The balls get
okay, so
smaller
yeah, it's
as they wear down.
It's kind of like on sandpaper.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
Yep.
wears down.
So, but
But
no,
the overhead is way low. I mean,
Overhead's-
your rent is probably a
Yeah.
fraction.
yeah,
in
100%.
the utility costs.
Yep.
So you're still, at the end of the day, running a business.
Yep. And you know, now we can use we use every hour from 4 to 9 p.m. So our coaching costs, like we have really good coaches right now, and that's been a godsend to us. So like that's like our main overhead is obviously a facility, you know, energy, coaches, all that good stuff.
Yeah. When you made the change, were you like excited about the space? Were you kind of like, dang it, I'm going to move here just because it doesn't really make sense out here?
Yeah, well, I was excited and also nervous, and we were doing both for a while.
Yeah.
like I was doing both for a while just so I could keep our bigger groups at Marcellus.
Oh, okay. You had two going.
Yep.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, we
They
had
got
two
still
going
down
for
in Texas then.
maybe a year or two.
Okay.
And it was great. And then we just eventually got to the point where we weren't at Marcellus all that long, or all that much anymore, because our businesses were doing so well. We just thought, okay, now might be the time for us to, get out of that
Yeah.
side of it. And my stuff downtown at that point was going so well that, I didn't have any more time in the day, So it was kind of like a perfect timing situation.
Yeah. When we did the podcast initially, were you doing that full time?
Yes and
And
no. I wasn't doing platform full time.
I think you run a club, right?
I was running a club, girls and boys. Was helping to run the ultimate goal and doing our training.
Yes. And then since then, you got away from club,
Yep.
took a couple real jobs, real jobs, and then have now gone back to doing this full time. What was that? Did you realize you don't want to do those other jobs? Did you realize, wow, there really is a demand, especially moving over here? What made you pivot back to, all right, I'm just going to put everything into this?
Yeah. I just, I've always been like a little bit of I don't want to say like risk taker, but like I see an opportunity and I like to try to follow through with it. And that's what we've been doing with Platform, because I know how needed it is for the players in this area. But I've always also been nervous at the same time. Like, I can't just do that. Like, I want to make sure that my family is good and we're in a good spot. You know what I mean?
Four boys.
4 boys. They got a lot of mouths to feed, and they keep eating more every day, and they get injured. You know how it is.
No shortage of bread, at least. Though.
No, that's true.
Shout out to Flour Dough.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, Cass, she's got a big bake day today. She's
Nice.
making like 100 and something loaves.
Yeah, I'll have her on the pod too. I want
You got
to pick her brain for sure.
But I just, and that's why I kind of always did multiple things, whether it was running the club, whether it was running the club and the ultimate goal, whether it was coaching at OCC, whether it was, working for Intuitive or working for VIP. I was always a little nervous just to put all my eggs in one basket. But at the same time, I also took a lot of those roles so I could build some certain skills. Like Intuitive, I like the sales aspect of it. I knew it's something I needed to work on. VIP, I knew I had a project management job way back when I first graduated college, but I also wanted to work on that and building projects and building, the culture within a program, like within with your group. So I also took those roles not only just for the job, but to hopefully gain some skills from it that I could apply to Platform. And then we just, while all that was happening, we just, we got busy. We kept doing the right thing. We stayed consistent. And now we're in a spot where I don't have any more time to do
Yeah.
a couple things,
Also, during that time, I'm sure you were able to work with players throughout their younger career, and people could see the results in the product that you're putting out there.
Yeah.
Right. All of a sudden, someone who's been working at Platform for 4, 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
Look at where they are. Look at how good they are. It's like, wow, kind of, as you said, there's no real secrets, but like you're able to rep it. Those kids are getting better and people are learning that.
Yep.
So now more and more are going to like, hey, if I want my kid to, to be the best player he can be, part of that sometimes you'd be working at Platform.
100%. And I think like the word of mouth on that stuff is definitely spreading. I'm so bad. I'll be like first to admit, I'm so bad at like promoting that. I'm getting better at figuring out how to do it.
Well, you got to get social following now, but people like to see kids ripping corners
100%.
and But I know what you mean. It's hard.
It's hard. It's hard to stay up. And there's like so many players that I wish I could advertise them every day, because there's so many of our, college players, high school players, like even a couple pros, like doing great things right now. It's just, it's hard to keep up with it, but I try to do my best doing that.
Well, I think part of what makes you a good coach and why people like you is because you are kind of humble and you're not one to be like, our stuff is the best, you're not in anyone's face.
Yeah.
Because if you trust the process, right?
Yep.
What you're doing works. I mean, your dad was a coach, an excellent coach at Syracuse. You've been around lacrosse. Your uncles were coaches. All your siblings played, at Syracuse.
Yep.
So you've had plenty of coaches. It's in your family. You know what works.
Right. Exactly.
And it's just, like I said, almost that time has probably helped to establish where, people are starting to realize that.
Without a doubt. And I could think of a couple players off the top of my head that I started to work with when I first started Platform and first started our training. And now they're coming back and actually helping to coach. And they had great careers. And it's like unbelievable to see, what they did. But now they're coming back and it's awesome to have them coach again. And I think it's cool also for the kids to be like, oh, he's coaching my Tuesday night shooting sessions. And oh, he just graduated from here and he did all this. You know what I mean? So
We're not young anymore, so it's cool to have the
100%.
the young cool kids back.
Well, selfishly, I tell all the guys, I'm training now so that they can coach my kids because my kids aren't going to listen to me.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's out of Coach Miss Sarah's playbook of, you breed all these great players. And then once they go to college, they come back and work at summer camp, right?
Yep.
Pays them well. Yep. And he knows they learned from him. So, a lot of similarities and like they know the fundamentals and they're teaching the right things. Yep. So I'm sure that's what you see.
And it almost resonates better, like they hear me say stuff a lot and then all of a sudden they hear, this player who's actively doing it say the same thing. It's like, I don't know, sometimes it clicks better for them.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it is hard to get through to young kids, as we've all learned.
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Renewal by Andersen of Central New York, the #1 window and door company in America. Winter is coming, and there's no better time to upgrade. Their energy-efficient windows keep warm in, the cold out, and your energy bills low. Schedule your free consultation today by clicking the link in the show notes.
When you think about when you started this, you've been doing this a little while now, right? When you started training players to where you are now training players, what has changed? I think of things like when I was coaching high school, right? And when I started out, and not that I would have done things differently, but you learn things along the way, right? You learn like, all right, what are the important things? What matters? For example, like to get the most out of kids, they got to be having some fun, right? That was one thing I learned where like it was very strict when I initially started. I was on every little thing. Part of that was I was having to change the culture. Right. But then I learned it's like, all right, yes, as long as they're following the rules, like, we got to have some fun too, right? Because then they want to be at practice 100%. And they're trying hard. What are some things that maybe from a training perspective, you've adjusted?
Yeah. I think as far as like technical terms, like their technique and stuff, that's constantly changing based on like, what you're seeing in the college game, youth game, and how it trickles down.
The game changes.
Right. The game changes.
There's always tweaking.
And now there are more teams are going to like positionless offenses and things of that nature. So players are getting dodges from everywhere, all over the field. They're getting different types of shots. So, we're trying to keep everyone more well-rounded in terms of dodging from behind the goal, dodging from the wings, 2-man game behind, 2-man game at, GLE. We could spend 18 hours talking about like all the little differences of the game now. But as far as like training goes and keeping it like high level, and you're right, it's hard because you got to keep it at a high level. It needs to be very specific and focused, and they got to be working hard and focused on their game. Otherwise, it's like meaningless reps, But at the same time, if they don't enjoy coming to it, they're not going to do it as much. So we try to build in like little challenges, little competitions at our weekly skill training. And then we just started this program called Platform Prep about a year ago. And that's been great because, it's great because at training, we get kids from all over schools, different clubs. It's a place where anyone can come to focus on their skills and get better. And then with these platform prep groups, we have players playing at Sweet Lax, Orange Crush, True, 91, even places in Long Island that they come together, and it's a very similar group with small numbers, and we can focus on the 2-man game, the 3-man game, picks, mirroring, all while we're doing more like advanced style skill development. So when they're in those groups, like I didn't think about it at the time, but not only are they competitive with each other, as long as the group is like, right in similar skill level, they're competitive with each other. They're having fun because a lot of them know each other, spend a lot of time together. And that just like breeds an atmosphere of like, of getting better, no matter what.
I always love the group sessions because
100%.
Exactly. They're having fun. Yeah. They're competitive.
Yep.
They have a buddy there.
Yep.
It's like when it's you and one kid, I'm always like, what's your favorite dinner?
I know.
It's like you run out of things to talk about when you're talking to an 8-year-old.
Right.
But I think of when we're growing the game down in Texas, it was like initially we'd go to elementary schools.
Yeah.
And some of the coaches who would go to elementary schools to introduce lacrosse a little bit, or, they've heard of it, but they hadn't played it. We'd bring a bunch of mini sticks, but they would do like catching and throwing and things. And I'm like, no. I got a big speaker. I'm going to have them do things they know they can do. So they're associating lacrosse with music, fun, scooping ground ball. Oh, I can do that. Oh, I can shoot. Little things like that they leave. They're like, that sport's great. I'm going to sign up because it takes a little bit. I mean, think about playing basketball and not being able to catch and pass. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be very fun. It's kind of how lacrosse is.
Oh, yeah.
So you need to sign up for a season. You need to, stick with it for a little bit, and then you start to get better and better, and it becomes fun. So it was like little things like that. And then I would do lessons, and, yes, you train them hard. And then I was like, all right, we're playing pig after, and for push-ups and things like that. So it kind of changed with, the age of the kid too, age and skill. And so is that something that you've become more conscious of? Like, all right, this is this level, this is what we need to do, kind of a balance of
100%
fun and
especially
and probably even different, girls, boys are different, like everything's different.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. Like, especially at the younger group, like I'm trying to really grow our younger group and get more options because, that will, help introduce people to what we're doing and them and them to the game. And they got to have fun because it stinks. If you have a stick that like you can't catch with or you can't pass with, it is no fun at all.
Yeah, that's part of it too. They, they get it from not usually like they'll order it online.
Yep.
And it's just like this factory strung piece of crap. And the stick might be great, but if the stringing stinks, it's useless almost.
But you're right, if they start catching the ball and they start getting better at this dodge and they're listening to music, they're having fun, they're playing sharks and minnows at the end. They all know they have that look to look forward to. So you try to get little pieces that they can like really look forward to. It's like, look, we have to do this first, but if we do this and we do it well, we'll do this. I promise.
Yeah. I mean, that's college.
Yep. That's 100%.
Do this stuff. It's like, all right, we'll do full field 3v2s.
Yep.
Yeah, let's go.
You got to have that carrot to dangle,
Yeah, exactly. And that's, how you get them working hard. That's how you have fun. Yep. What about parents?
Mm-hmm.
Think about parents you've had to deal with. I know it's a little different than like club.
Yep.
Right. Because you probably don't deal directly with recruiting. I know that's a stressor for some of the parents, but I'm sure you deal with a lot of parents, whether good or bad.
Yep.
Talk about, what do you think that relationship should be like? And from what you've seen and some of the more successful players, and obviously there's a lot of factors. It really comes down to the kid. It comes down to genetics a little bit, things like that. But what's the parent's role in raising a good lacrosse player or athlete for that matter?
I know it's tricky because it's like changed since we've been a part of it.
My parents didn't do anything.
Nope.
I mean, I shouldn't say didn't do it. They set me up with everything I needed to, got me to practice.
Yeah.
But like they weren't
trust
like
the
recruiting.
process. Right.
Yeah, they were like, oh, you're getting letters, cool. And I didn't really get back. We didn't. We probably could have handled that differently, but it was changing. Like Mark didn't have to do that. My older brother, who was getting recruited.
Yeah.
So it's now a lot different. Parents need to be more involved.
That was what I was going to get at. It's like there's so many different programs, this club, and there's not like necessarily like one voice coming from these groups. The kids are hearing it from all different angles. You know what I mean? So it is a little tricky, and club and travel lacrosse is becoming more and more of a thing, as well as showcases and prospect days. So there's so many different avenues that these players can go to, especially on the recruiting side, to get recruited, that it's just the parents kind of almost have to be involved more because, they might be doing this event with just by myself. And then I got to go to this event where I'm with my club team. Then I'm going to this event where I'm with my high school team, and that's changed pretty drastically over the past, 15 years, maybe even less, 10 years.
Yeah.
Because back when we were playing, it's like Coach Mastera helped us get recruited. We went to the Empire Games. If you did that, you were in great shape.
You'd sit down with him, give him a list. He'd be like,
nope.
You can play here. You don't have the grades.
You're going to hate this.
All right. These are the 4 schools. I'll call them.
Yep.
Yeah. And you could start talking to the coach.
Exactly.
We were very fortunate.
100%.
But it's not like that anymore.
It's not like that. And that's why I have a tough time. I don't necessarily know the answer to it because, we were lucky. And when you have someone that trustworthy, when you have someone that's actually, has your right interests in mind, and it's helping you get to where they think would be a good fit for you and also challenge you at the same time. I think that's the key. So from like a parent side, it's just, I think their role is to try to find that program, that coach, that just situation, you know what I mean? And then once you do get to that situation, then you got to trust like that, trust that process.
Yeah. But I guess there's different ages require different involvement as well.
Yeah.
Younger, but I guess we'll start with younger.
Yeah.
When you think of younger parents, at least how I approach it is, right, we coach the Sunday morning sessions. I bring my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
If she wants to do cartwheels for 20 minutes for half the time, whatever.
100%.
Right? I don't want her to resent it.
Nope.
And it's not like I'm really trying to get her to play. I just would love for her to play. Me and my wife played. I know we could help her, flourish.
Yep.
And we both had great experiences, at Syracuse. Not that she has to go there, but I know that it would be a great experience because we had so much out of it.
Mm-hmm.
If she wants to do something else, great. But, I also don't want to force her to do it or really push it on her because it's, because then I don't want her to resent it.
Yep.
So that's at a young age.
Yeah.
Eventually, I think they kind of fall in love with it.
Yep.
But then there's the balance of what's too much.
I know. Right.
You know, I think you could, I mean, not only too much from a time perspective, too much from the kid, right? You're playing 5-6 games in a weekend, but also cost. I mean, you could spend, there's parents who spend tens of thousands of dollars in a summer to get their kid who ended up like quitting before they even went to college.
I know. Right.
It's insane.
I totally agree.
And I don't think that's necessary, you know? So it's like, what's the balance? And I don't think there's a one answer to that.
Right.
But at least I'm hopeful that it's like, if they're playing enough and they're getting the right training, it doesn't necessarily have to be the highest ticket item.
Totally agree with that. I think, like you said, it's every situation's a little different, especially on the younger side. But like, I'm not gonna I'm thinking about my own kids. Like basically, what I'm doing now lately with Platform is I'm making programs that I know will be helpful for my own kids. You know, it's like the best way of looking at it, because I think it's going to be helpful for them. Then I think it will probably be helpful for everybody. But you know, if he wants to do this and he wants to go play for this club, am I going to say like, no, like I'm going to let him, let him do it. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I think about my 5-year-old Peter, he doesn't really have any interest in playing it. So I'm like, you know, just do your own thing. I'll bring you down there. I'll keep creating this environment that if you want to do it, do it. And he's starting to get himself into more and more drills and more of the practices. You know, Kevin loved it. He loved it from the beginning. He just wants to hang out with his buddies and play lacrosse and play any sport. But, you know, I think you're spot on. Like your role is to like give them the opportunities, but if they, and then feel it out. Like if it's too much, you know, don't do it. Cause that's, you know, bad avenue to go down where they might start hating playing lacrosse. Yeah. Cause lacrosse is difficult. It's very skill oriented. You know, it's frustrating at times because you got to think so much.
You know, it's hot outside. It's summer tournaments. It's, you know, it's a
You're
physical
gone
game.
every other weekend.
Yeah.
You know,
you want to keep them hungry.
Right. So I think at the younger group, your focus is on enjoying it, having them work with, you know, hopefully their school teams as much as they can, and then getting their skill work and development. And that way, when they get to like middle school, and playing some box, like I just signed Kevin up for box down at the Red Hawks.
That's right. Yeah,
Just
Ryan McConnell.
With Ryan
about my son. I'm like, he's 2. He probably needs a few years.
He's a beast, though. He's a beast. Because I think that's like a good situation where they're getting a lot of touches and it's fun. You're like, it's kind of like hockey. You're like in every play. Yeah. You're not traveling an enormous, well, you're traveling a little bit, but it's like not nearly as much as what, you know, we're not going to Delaware every other weekend, you know, and
Delaware Sports Complex.
Yeah. And at the bottom line is like, I think a lot of parents feel like if they don't do this opportunity now, they're going to lose out on it. The kid's going to lose out on it. The bottom line is like if the kid's focusing on the right things and he's developing his game and you're not playing on, you know, this, you know, specific program from the very beginning, like if you're pretty good, like there's always going to be a spot for you. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. And little things like, you know, I just learned this. And then as I look back at when I was younger, it makes complete sense is we just bought a pair of hackies, you know, a few hackies lacrosse sticks. Mm-hmm. My daughter and son have been getting so many reps. You know, they're little, so it's no different than they'd be doing at a like platform or anything in our basement. Right, switching hands, shooting, working on the motion, and like my son who never really played because he's so young, he's only 2.5. I'm like, all of a sudden he's carrying around the ball, and it's like all I did is buy him. You know, and just kind of, you know, I'm not like setting up drills or anything. No. So it's like those little things, and then I think back of when we were younger, I mean, those mini sticks, the ones Brian had, we'd go to the Final Four, and it's like constant all weekend. We weren't even playing with our regular sticks, but it's the same thing.
Always in the hotel, you know, it's like, that's what we're doing. We're going to the Bandits game tomorrow. Yeah. And we're going to bring the mini sticks. We're going to set them up in the hotel, hopefully, until we get yelled at. And then it's like, it's so much fun. We have hackies in the basement, and it's
so much fun, and they're getting better. Yeah. I mean, they're good reps. Like, you know, it's just getting comfortable, especially at a young age, just getting comfortable with sticks, switching hands, shooting, catching, shooting. You know, it's just all repetition. It's that 10,000 hours, but when they know we've only been alive for 100,000 or whatever. No, you know, it's going to take time. But yeah, I don't think stressing about I need to get my kid in young. No. And, you know, I know it is different now. Players tend to specialize a little more. Yeah. But at the end of the day, like, I also think, you know, college coaches still look for those dual sport athletes. Yeah. You get skills from other sports that are hard to learn in just one sport. Right. And, you know, if you're able to do like, I mean, basketball, there's just so much crossover. Right. As long as you can pass and catch, you don't have to play in any tournaments.
No.
Right. And then all of a sudden, boom, you'll be and if you're a good athlete and you work hard, you'll be a good lacrosse player. If you're a good basketball player, like things like that.
Well, and there's so many opportunities too, like now to like focus on your game. And during like while I'm playing basketball, I can also just go shoot and go play. And like, there's so many opportunities for that where it's kind of nice to have like a little change up, get your body comfortable with different movements.
For sure. And it keeps it fresh, fun. If you're playing lacrosse,
that's true.
That's what I was saying. Keep them hungry on whatever sport they're playing.
100%.
Because the last thing you need, and you saw, that burnout, that's a real thing.
Oh yeah.
You don't want your kid at the end of the summer like, I am done with lacrosse. You don't want that. You want them like, all right, I'm ready for a break.
Right.
But then all of a sudden they take a month off.
That was fun. Can you sign me up for next year?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you'd much rather have it be that, and you got to look out for your family too. There's got to be a balance. You can't give everything up
100%.
just so your kid can go play in a tournament in Delaware. No, that's I think that's sound advice, and I think it's just a stressor for the parents. And I always tell the story, and I don't even know the specifics of it. I just remember hearing it, and I think it's happened numerous times where all of a sudden, like a junior or sophomore in high school will be at a big recruiting event. Usually from like Canada.
Yeah.
And we'll have a lights out event. And then all of a sudden every ACC school is calling him.
Mm-hmm.
And he had never played in a club event prior to that.
Right.
If he can do that, it wasn't like he wasn't playing.
Nope.
He just wasn't playing in all these showcases and club tournaments and all these things. He just was playing and getting better, whether it's locally or whatever it is.
Yep.
And he's obviously became a great player. And then he was just able to showcase it. Like if your son or daughter is good, they're going to get found.
100%.
You got to do something, but like I said, it took one tournament for a lot of these guys just to all of a sudden, boom, clearly he's legit.
I used to talk to my dad. My dad used to say it all the time. He's like, I've seen this kid at every single event, but it's like, it goes back to, I don't need to be at every event. I need to be playing my best at the events I want to go to and like where the people are that hopefully someone guided me to the right event where those coaches might want me on their team. You know what I mean? So I think that's the bottom line. You want to be playing your best at the events you go to. And you should not feel like you need to go to every single one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard. You got Prospects Day, like for the specific schools, you got the tournament. You don't know who's going to show up. They advertise it, but sometimes you don't know who's going to be at your field.
Right.
That's the stress. And I get it.
Right.
And I don't think we have a perfect answer, but I think, you play here and there. And if you're a good player, you'll be found.
100%. Yep. 100%. I totally agree with that.
Let's talk about the balance of the home life. 4 kids, 2 entrepreneurial ventures.
Yep.
Flour dough. Your wife, who makes excellent sourdough bread and
100%.
has exploded.
Yep.
Probably more than you guys anticipated.
For
maybe
sure. For sure.
I mean, it's
for sure.
More than I thought. Just the bread, you wouldn't know. I mean, sourdough has exploded in general, and
that's true.
She got out ahead of it, which is really cool.
Yep.
But it is probably a little. We have 1 and 1, right? Alyssa has a job. I do a lot more entrepreneurial ventures.
Yep.
How has that been? Plus the 4 kids. I mean, 4 kids, what, 6 and under?
Yeah. Kevin's 6. Yeah, he's 6.5. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's tough. It's tough. It's like, it's nice because like if something needs to happen, you can drop whatever and go make it happen. Like that's what's nice about it. Like last night, for example, like Tyler Gale and I coach our platform prep group late Wednesday night, but Declan was sick and he needed to go to the urgent care. So like, I'm like, Ty, can you cover this group for me? And I'll make sure that I cover it for you in the future. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm able to go home to do that. So,
well, you're the boss.
Yeah, I know, but it's like, it's nice to be able to like make adjustments, but at the same time, like there's really no off switch, which I guess there's no off switch for anyone that's a parent, but there's no off switch for work. And there's also no off switch for parenting.
That's exactly what I was saying. It's like, you could always be doing more. Both of you could probably always be doing more.
And you always feel that, like you always feel like, dang, I forgot to do this. I need to do this, but I also need to do this right now because I haven't seen my kids all day and I need to play with them. They need that. They 100% need that. So it's a delicate balance, but what's nice is like, they're starting to really like to come to Platform with me. That's what's nice about that. And, Catherine's got the home bakery. So we recently did some renovations to try to keep the kids out of there a little bit more. So she got some space to get stuff done, where it doesn't take her all day. But at the same time, if Declan's crying, she could put him in the bathtub, which is in the, we have a sink in there. So we put him in a giant sink for a bathtub, keep him happy for a second while she's mixing bread right next to her.
Nice.
So it's like, you know, it's challenging. It's definitely challenging, but I also do like that they get to see how hard we work and what we're doing. And I think hopefully we can instill some of that in them at a younger age, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's nice that you guys, I think, it seems like you have a setup where one of you can be on, one of you can be off.
Yes.
You know, it's not like you both need to be active after school necessarily, right? She can probably get a lot of her stuff done during the day.
Yep.
Where, you know, you can maybe help out.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And that's kind of what it is. Like she starts early. Like she works out every morning, but she's usually starting to bake by 5 a.m. So she gets most of her stuff done. It takes a while, but she starts early. It's done every day is a little different depending on how long the dough takes. But I could typically be around to help until that happens. And then I'm gone coaching in the evenings. And I can get most of my stuff done like randomly in the morning throughout it or when the kids are napping. I can get like the busy work done.
Do you have anyone helping you out with that, or do you come?
Yeah, I do. We have a marketing team that
Okay,
helps a ton. Ryan Waddle, and he owns the lacrosse marketing company, and he's been tremendous. Like he's been a lifesaver. He does really good work too. But that's kind of like a typical schedule. So we have a good schedule, and then we also have a ton of help from our parents, Catherine's parents and my parents.
Both local.
Thank God. Yeah.
Both retired.
Both local. Both retired. Well, no, not retired.
Oh.
Her dad still works. My dad doesn't know how to.
I was saying, your dad's always doing something.
Yeah.
Your dad's still helping coach?
Yeah. They had their first week of practice at Marcellus this week.
So for those of you who don't know, Dylan's dad was our coach at Syracuse and was one of the best, is the best lacrosse mind in the game, in my opinion. You know, it was funny that we would, wherever we were struggling, Desco would put Coach Donahue on it. So like,
I know.
And it would change, the years I was, 2 years I was there, depending what we're struggling. All right, let's have Coach Donahue attack. And then all of a sudden that would be a strong point, and then somewhere else would get weaker.
That is so funny.
But yeah, no, he was such a pleasure to play for. And I'm sure it's been huge in your kind of success. And as you've gotten, coach it, and your brother, Colin, who's the head coach at Marcellus.
Yep.
I'm sure he's been, a huge help to both of you. In both your roles.
Well, I think honestly, like, obviously I'm biased, but I was fortunate to have a lot of good coaches, but I learned, I think, obviously the most from him, and he taught me everything, and he had a good like demeanor about it. And I think he did I don't know how he was able to coach me and make it feel like I was like not his son. You know what I mean? Like he treated me just like everyone else, and he did a really good job of that with all of his players. He was hard on him when he needed to be hard on him, but also he viewed coaching, and I think being a father too, it's like my job is to give them the tools for them to succeed. He didn't look at it like it's their job to make us look good. You know what I mean? It's like he viewed coaching, and that's, I think, why he was a teacher too. He viewed it as my job is to give them the tools, help put them in the system, get them to their strengths where they are going to succeed. And if it didn't happen, it didn't happen, but he wasn't going to be like hard on him for it. He viewed it as like, okay, if he's not doing something right, it's because I didn't coach him that yet. That's why he never like yelled someone. I think I heard him yell like.
I remember him yelling one time.
I think it's the same time.
It was in Manly.
Yep.
And he just, for good reason.
It was like someone.
I just remember being like, dang, I've never heard him yell like that.
I know. And there was like a pin drop.
A year and a half
oh my God. Yeah.
Right. I think he probably, he obviously coached you and helped you when you were younger, but he probably coached you at the right time, right? You were in college.
Yeah.
You went through Miss Sarah's program. You were pretty mature by the time you got to college, and you were there to be there.
That's true.
And I've said this on the podcast before. That was one thing we're talking about Coach Desco with Eric Devendorf, the similarities between Bayheim and Desco. And why I like Desco's program, part of that was Coach Donahue, was that they treated you almost like pro athletes. Like, this is the program. This is what we're doing. We're the resources. We're going to help you. We're going to put you in sets to succeed. Mm-hmm. But we're not going to like scream at you to do it.
No.
If you don't do it, next guy up, and that's a fortunate thing about Syracuse is there's enough talent that it can be the next guy up. Yep. But like, I like that, I didn't need to be told and yelled at. It's like that. Just, that was no one like that.
No.
Some of the younger guys needed to be put in their place a little bit when they got there. I think Coach Rogers was great with that. Leland Rogers is getting them kind of on board. But then from there, it was a good balance, because that made it fun too. You're not getting screamed at. You're getting put in sets, and you're getting put in positions to be successful.
Yep. You knew what was expected of you. You knew if you weren't doing it, but you also knew if you weren't doing it, like they weren't just going to scream at you. Like I was just going to go work on that. And if I got better at it, I got better at it, and I'm on the field. My dad used to talk about that all the time. He told me when I was like this little, he's like, listen, if you could score, you're going to be on the field. Your coach has to put you out there. So I was like, okay, I'm going to get good at that. So I know it is. I totally agree. We had a really good environment.
Yeah. I just think of too, your dad, have a great game, or whether a great game or not a great game.
Yeah.
Game's over, go to the tailgate. On the bus, I already have 4 clips emailed to me.
I know.
What were you thinking here?
It's like,
I don't know, coach. Come on. We just won. We just beat Virginia. Give me an hour.
Literally.
Nah, but it was all. And I mean, maybe he was right.
I know.
And it was never like, what the F? It was,
no.
Hey, what are you thinking here? Probably could have gone here. And it was so helpful.
Right.
Just the way they were able to cut up film, on prior, like, opposed to like watching a whole game film.
Right.
No, they had it all cut up. Boom, boom, boom. These are things to focus on.
Yeah.
Everyone was able to retain it because it wasn't 2 hours of sitting there.
That's true. Like,
they had a great balance of that.
My dad, like Sam Evans, like they had like a good system.
Yeah.
Basically, my dad created this process. Like, Sam, this is what we need out of these films. Sam did it, and I don't know how he did it so fast. But then my dad's able to send out, and all the coaches are able to send out like individual clips to either groups, the attack, the midfield, the whole offense, or you individually. And that was great too, because then like you don't feel like you're getting called out. You know what I mean? It was like,
and he would send things like perfection.
Yeah.
Like a part of the offense that was ran perfect. Right. So it was like, you got that cool stuff too. Or like, great play here. As in like, remember this is usually there type of stuff.
Yep.
He wasn't doing it to, boost your ego. It was just like, hey, this is what we want. This is why it's designed.
We need more of this.
Yep. Cool. Before we wrap up, what's next? Platform, right? You're about 6, 7, 8 years. How long?
8 years. We're going on 8 years. Yeah. 5 years at our current spot. No, I think we're just going to try to keep renovating our current area just so we can eventually I'd love to get the outdoor field, in a better spot where we can do some more training outside in the summer, especially with our college athletes. We got our Syracuse Polar Bears. We started that back up this past year. So that's our box team that happens in the winter months.
Platform's box too?
Yep.
Cool.
Yep. It's Tyler Gale and I that put that on together. So we're going to keep growing that. And then other than that, we're going to keep our weekly skill training up, keep growing Platform. Eventually I'd love to have a second spot somewhere. I don't know where, just so we can, have multiple training sessions going on at different time slots. Whole goal is just make it as convenient as possible for people that everyone's got crazy busy schedules. But if they have an option to go somewhere and make their skills where they know they need them, every person's different. Everyone's trying out for a different team. I just want to make it an easy atmosphere for people can get to and, focus on their own personal game.
Yeah.
Because it's not the coaches. It's not any coach's fault. It's not the club's fault. There's just not enough time for them to develop their own game in practice. There's no way around it. When you're at practice, sure, your coaches, especially high school, are working on that from the beginning, especially early season. But where you want your skills and where you need your skills, and it's like it's up to you to get them there.
Yeah, we would say that all the time. You're not just working on. You need to do stuff at home. Yep. We don't have time in practice to work on skills.
We expect you to be able to do this.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. And it's like we're talking about the NBA while all these Europeans are coming over. The comparison of they're practicing 6 days a week, playing 1 day over in Europe.
Yeah.
And in the AAU in the US, they're playing 6 days a week, practicing 1.
Yeah.
And you wonder why more and more. It's like you need that training. And what's great about your facility and the kind of small group training is that even if you're with a group who's not nearly as good as you,
right?
It's all individual.
100%.
It's all about what you put into it.
Yep.
So
you're not competing
you don't
against
need to be with the best players. It's not like playing on a team with them.
Right.
It's not like running the offense with them. No, you're working on your shooting, your dodging.
Yeah.
Everything's more individual.
Yes.
So it's like no matter who you're with, you're going to get something out of it.
Yep. Yeah, you're just competing against yourself from the previous week. That's it.
Yeah.
You're not competing against anyone else there.
Sweet. Well, Dylan, good luck. Thanks for coming in, brother.
Dude, thanks for having me. Yeah. Appreciate it.
Sweet.